guys, and welcome back to my channel. We are doing our middle grade March reading wrap up. We have just about finished all of the books. There are a couple of books where we just have like a couple of chapters to go, but we know enough to talk about them, and we wouldn't tell you the end anyway because we're not going to do any spoilers, or we're going to try really hard not to. So Madison, how did you like doing middle grade March with mommy this year?
It was a fun experience. It's pretty fun.
It was fun? You liked it? We did a lot of reading, right?
Yes.
A lot. But due to the current conditions with the coronavirus and being quarantined, it was easy to find the extra time to get the reading done. So that was really helpful. So I'm going to start with our first challenge for middle grade March. And if you're totally unfamiliar with what middle grade March is, there are...
Can I explain it?
Go ahead.
So there are, how many challenges?
5.
5. There are 5 challenges. And you have to read a book that has to do with that challenge. So like one says a book that takes place in another country, so we did Heidi. And then you have to read them all in the month of March.
That's right. And this is hosted by a couple of YouTubers that do this every year, and I will leave their links in the description below if you want to check out their videos and hear more about the different challenges. And I'll also link above our TBR for middle grade March, because we originally filmed this video and spoke of all the books that we were doing for the challenges. Okay. So let's get started. Our first challenge was a book with illustrations. So we read The House at Pooh Corner by A.A. Milne. So the illustrations in Pooh are really charming. They're really just sketches.
But they have done a lot. They have put in like a lot of details, and they do big drawings a lot. So if you put them all together, it's a huge, good picture.
It is. I'm gonna hide the last... This is the very last page of the book. I don't want you to read it, but look at how charming that is. Pooh, it like makes me teary-eyed. Pooh and Christopher Robin just like skipping away, all happy and joyful. It's just so cute. We love Pooh. Obviously, we're huge Disney fans in this house, so
Yes.
anything Pooh makes us happy. And the month of March was a very challenging month for us all, and reading middle grade books was just such a great escape from everything else going on in the world. So I highly recommend all of the Pooh Bear books because they're just so adorable. Oh, and we have our Pooh Bear here with us, see? Everybody needs a Pooh Bear. If you don't have a Pooh Bear in your house, you need to go out right now or go to Amazon and get a Pooh Bear. This guy was from the Disney store back in 2002. He was a gift from a friend of mine, a very, very close friend who is sadly no longer with us, but it was a gift for my firstborn child, Emily, and I have kept him out and about with us ever since. So everyone needs a Pooh Bear.
You know what? I'm just gonna keep Pooh.
You're gonna hold on to him?
Yeah.
All right.
The second challenge was books about books, which was a very hard one to find. But we were interested in Pages and Co. The Book Wanderers by Anna James.
Yes.
It is basically, can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it's basically about this girl named Matilda. Her nickname's Tilly, and she has the ability to book wander, which is she could go into books and meet characters, and yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of a mystery, even though this wasn't the book that we chose as a mystery, but Tilly's mom had gone missing when she was born.
And she wants to try to find
Yeah,
her.
so nobody knows what happened to the mom, and she wants to see if she can find her. And with her ability to hop into books and meet her favorite characters from books, which were Alice in Wonderland and Anne of Green Gables, was a lot of fun. Seeing these characters come to life was a lot of fun, and it makes me want to read Alice in Wonderland again, and it makes me want to read The Little Princess, which is talked about a lot in this book. It is very relevant in this book. You'll know once you read it what that's all about.
I don't really think it's a spoiler though if we tell them.
No.
So why they talk about The Little Princess a lot is because it was her mom's favorite book when she was younger.
It was her mom's favorite book, yes. And then Anne of Green Gables, which is another favorite, is going to definitely be something that I want to read with Madison for our next read along. Well, maybe not our next one because I already have books picked out for April, but soon. Madison definitely needs to experience Anne of Green Gables. Book Wanderers, there's another book that follows this one that I might just have to get because I really did enjoy it. Okay, this one.
Can I explain it?
Oh, this book.
Please. Okay, so this book is about this
well, let's start off with saying this was our mystery challenge, right? This was the mystery book.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and who is that by?
The Girl Who Drank the Moon is by Kelly Barnhill.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Oh, Kelly.
So, guys, if I would recommend this book, but if you have like a younger child, I wouldn't recommend reading it because it has a lot of big and hard words. My mom didn't even know some of them.
I didn't know most of the words in this book. This book had such vocabulary. Oh my gosh, every page we're like, what does that mean?
Here,
what is happening? What is she saying? It was a challenging book for both of us. I love the storyline. The mystery behind it is really great, and it definitely builds and builds throughout the plot, like just builds to the point where all of these things are happening all of a sudden. And
can I explain it?
Yeah.
So basically there's this girl named Luna, and there's this thing called the Day of Sacrifice because people think that the witch will destroy their village if they don't make a human sacrifice, so people always give their youngest baby to the witch. But the Grand Elders know that think that the witch isn't really real, but they still do it anyway to leave the babies to die in the woods.
Yeah, they just sacrifice babies in the woods. They just leave them there, and whatever happens, happens. They don't even care. And it's a really great story. It starts out with the first not the first sacrifice that ever happened, but with the sacrifice of Luna being left in the woods, and what happens when the witch takes her, and how the witch basically adopts her as her own child and raises her, and there's an intimacy there and a very nice relationship. And Luna makes friends with, who does she make friends with? You want to talk about?
Lurk and Tyrion.
Yes. And they are a swamp monster and a dragon. So it's very mystical, magical. Yes.
So basically the witch, she takes Luna, and then what she does is she takes the children, she feeds them Starlight, and then gives them to people in the other village because she doesn't know why this is happening. Because she wouldn't do that. She's actually a nice witch. Right.
She's like, why are these crazy people leaving babies in the woods? What is wrong with them?
So then every day on the sacrifice, she just takes the babies because she doesn't want them to die. So then, and then when she was feeding Luna the Starlight, she accidentally gave Luna a lot of moonlight.
Mm-hmm. And moonlight makes you have what?
Like a bunch of powers.
Yeah, the moonlight gives you magic. So Luna had a lot of magic in her, and
so then the witch had to take care of her because she didn't want anyone else to raise her with magic.
Right. So it's a really great story. It really is, but I have to say it is a challenging read, and there are sometimes a lot of words and even paragraphs and pages about one specific thing that I feel like it's way too much words for what they're talking about. Like, Luna is standing on a cliff and looking at something. That could be said in 2 sentences, and sometimes it's described in 2 or 3 pages, where to have a nice description and to make things atmospheric is great, but sometimes it's just way too much, where we're reading so much about something small where we would stop and say, like, what is happening? Like, Madison would be like, whoa, wait, what's happening? I'm like, she's still standing on the cliff looking at the rock. Like, so this book probably could be half the size, wouldn't you say? It could, like, a lot could have been cut from it. I mean, I know a lot of people love this book and I'm not bashing it, but there were times where it was just too much for me. Way too much. Story is amazing. All right. The next book, this was our book from another country that takes place in another country.
I had a shorter book of it.
Yeah, so Madison had the children's edition of Heidi, which is by Johanna Spyri. And
I love this book.
Yeah. We read this book individually. So The Girl Who Drank the Moon, we read together. It was like a read out loud book. The Book Wanderers and Heidi, we each read on our own. So I'll let you go first with Heidi because I think this was your favorite. Was this your favorite from the month?
It.
Okay.
But hers was, my mom's was a little bit more like, it had a different things, like.
Yeah. Mine was like.
More violent, maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't, like hers was made more for younger children, so there were a lot of things missing in it, but the overall storyline was what it should have been. So Madison definitely knows the story of Heidi. Do you want to talk about Heidi? What it's about? Go ahead.
Okay, so basically there's this girl named Heidi, and her mom is looking for a home for her, but while she does that, she brings her to her grandfather's, and he's kind of like grumpy.
Okay, so in my book, there is no mom. The mom and the dad are not in existence in the book. It is the mom's sister, I believe, who is taking Heidi to live with the grandfather because she doesn't want to take care of Heidi anymore. She wants to live her own life, and she doesn't want the responsibility of a child.
Okay. My turn. And she brings her to her grandpa's, and he's like grumpy and nobody likes him and stuff. But then Heidi brings joy in him, and then he becomes a better person. But then she has to leave because she finds a home for her.
Yeah, so her aunt finds her a home living with a very wealthy family. Well, in my book it was not the mom, but she is staying with a very wealthy family, and their daughter has a disability. So basically Heidi is there to keep the daughter entertained, and they become good friends. And Heidi likes her life there, but she greatly misses her grandfather, and she so loves where she lives with her grandfather in the Swiss Alps. And the atmosphere is so beautiful in this book.
I know, I want to go to Switzerland.
Yes, we both want to go to Switzerland so bad right now. And what I love about it is Heidi is living in this very broken down farm with her grandfather. They have minimal, very poor, and she ends up moving to live with this very wealthy family. And she's crying every day because she wants to be on the farm with her grandfather because that is the life that she loves. And it just goes to show you how very little having material things and money is in the big scheme of things. So I really enjoyed that aspect of the book. It was wonderful, beautiful. We're gonna watch the movie adaptation of this. It was not for that challenge that we chose this book, but I think there is a really great Heidi movie with Shirley Temple, and I want to watch it with her.
I want to Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple is a person, even though you know it as a drink. And I loved having an opportunity to read this old vintage copy that I had too. So that was a lot of fun, and this video is already like 15 minutes long. Okay, so I hope you're still with us. If you are, thank you for sticking along with all of our bantering.
Where's Wonder?
So
where's Wonder?
We don't have it anymore because we had to return it to the library. So our book that we read that has a screen adaptation that we were supposed to watch as well, Madison chose Wonder.
I love Wonder.
And I chose The Tale of Despero. So I can let you talk about Wonder first. All right, so Madison read the book Wonder, which was written by R.J. Palacio. And I read it a while back. I know. I read the book and I love it. It's dear to my heart, but Madison could talk about it because that was her choice for this challenge.
I love Wonder. So it's about this kid named August. His nickname is Augie. And he basically has a disability, and he's been homeschooled, and then he finds out that he has to go to school. And it shows all the adventures that he has in his new middle school.
It's a great, great story. I think every child and adult alike should read this book. It teaches you about just kindness and being kind to people regardless of where they come from or how they're made or what disabilities they have or what challenges they have in life, to just be friends to everyone. And I can't talk about this book because every time I talk about it, I start to cry.
Are you seriously?
Every time, it's just that touching. And it's not a depressing book. Like, I get emotional when I think about it.
It's like a happy
Yes,
sad.
because it's so beautiful. It's so beautifully written. Please go read it right now if you've never read Wonder. Like, there's no options in
You're
this.
seriously crying.
Go get the book and read it. So my book that I chose for this challenge was The Tale of Despero, and this is by Kate DiMasillo. This was also like one of my favorite stories of all time, and it just could be because of my timing in reading it and just needing that escape from this world right now. So this is a story about a little mouse who was born in a castle, and he also is, I don't want to say he has a disability, but he is born with like enormous ears, and the parents think that there's something wrong with him. And actually the parents are pretty horrible in this book. They're not very loving and kind parents. They don't really care about him very much. And anyway, so what ends up happening is he is banished for falling in love with the princess of the castle, and that is not allowed in the mouse world. So he is brought to the dungeons of the castle in the darkness, and he is on a quest to get back to the princess that he is so in love with. And it's just such a sweet story. You know, it's just really, I don't want to give too much away. I feel like if I say too much about this, I'm going to give a lot of spoilers, because it's also a very simple story, and I can probably tell you the whole thing in a few sentences. But there are lots of great characters in here. There is also a little girl, Mig, in this story, who is on her own journey, and she is deformed because of an abusive relationship with a gentleman who actually like purchased her as a slave of sorts to take care of his farm and take care of things. And she is trying to escape that life, and she wants to be the princess. So that's just like another aspect of the story, and I really, really love this book. I love the way that Kate DiMasillo writes. She really, really brings you right into the story. And
I like the texture of the page.
Yeah,
too.
so
Like,
I know there's a word for when books are created like this, but can you see the texture of the pages?
It's like pages that are like, it's like you ripped it out of a notebook.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like kind of like, some are higher than the others and stuff.
Yeah, I know there's
I
a
like
word.
the texture.
You like that? I know there's a word for it. And there was actually a lot of great illustrations in this book too, and even though I didn't choose it for the illustrations, I just want to show you guys a couple of them because they are really, really great. So there is the girl Mig that I just told you about. That's the princess in Despero. Really, really great illustrations. So loved this book, loved all of the books that we read this month. I just want to mention, this is an adult book that I purchased this month, and I just thought that it deserved a quick mention because it really feeds into what we were focusing on this month, which is reading aloud. And it's called The Read Aloud Family, and this is by Sarah Mackenzie.
Can I talk about it?
Madison knows a little bit about it because I told her, so you can tell them what I shared with you.
It's about these kids, and that they read with their family like every night, and then they grow up to be really smart kids, and they get a bunch of scholarships and get into good colleges and have a great smart life.
They do. They have a great smart life from their parents reading to them. And I started reading to my children when they were in my belly. I always loved reading, and especially children's stories.
How do
so
you read
when I was pregnant, I would read children's stories out loud to my belly. I did that. And then even when I had babies, newborn babies that I would have to hold, and like while I was nursing them, I would read to them. And we continue that throughout. And then what happens is once they get to be Madison's age and they read on their own, you stop doing it. And this book kind of talks about how important it is to not ever stop and to read all the way through into the teen years. And I can't get my teens to do this with me, but Madison is on board, and and she's been enjoying it, and we've been reading to each other. So I've been reading a couple of pages, and then she'll read a couple back, and it's been working out really well. And this book talks about all of the benefits of that. So if you are a mom, definitely invest in this book and learn about that. I know. And also, okay, I know. But also, my favorite thing about this book is in the back of the book, it gives you read aloud recommendations broken down by age. So that's really important because not all books are perfect for reading out loud. And even like some really, really great stories might not be the type of books that you want to read aloud. So, okay, that's it. I just wanted to mention, without Madison, because she would be incredibly bored hearing about a book that she wasn't a part of, but The Book of Boy was the book that was chosen for the read-along for Middle Grade March, and I did listen to the Audible. I had the book as well. I'll leave a picture of it here somewhere so that you guys could see what it is. The Book of Boy was about a boy who has a deformity, and he goes on a quest, and he's trying to find certain things. It's a lot to do with religion and different aspects of religion, and I found it confusing and not very entertaining, and I really had a hard time paying attention to the Audible, which is why I can't really even give you guys a great description of what the book is about. But again, I'll leave a link below to the other YouTubers who were a part of this. I don't have very much to say about it because I really did not enjoy the book that much at all. It left me with nothing. So I felt like I needed to recognize the presence of the book and the fact that I did take the time to listen to the entire Audible, but I did not enjoy it, and I would not really recommend it. I don't know if it's maybe because I need to actually read the book. Sometimes I have a hard time focusing on Audibles if I'm not captivated by the story, so my mind may have wandered quite a bit while I was listening to it, so I don't have a really great explanation of what it was about. But I did read it, so I met that challenge as well, and I just wanted to share that quickly with you guys. Oh, but I also wanted to tell you guys what we're gonna read for April. Should I still do it quickly? Quick.
Don't talk about the books.
I won't.
Just say them.
I'll try not to. Okay. So this is a book I've had for a while. I started to read and never finished, and that's The Vanderbekers of 141st Street by Karina Jan Glasser. And this is a great read too. And we're not going to talk extensively about what they're about, but very quickly,
we'll talk about it in another
very video. Quickly, this is about a family that is being forced to leave the home that they've been renting, and the children are trying to figure out why the heck the person that they leased from is kicking them out. And Pippi Longstockings is a quirky little girl that has no parents to answer to and basically does whatever she wants and is a hysterical story. And Rabbit Hill is about a rabbit family that lives in a house or near a house on a farm or somewhere on the property, and the homeowners are moving and new people are coming in, and their adventure with trying to live with a new family and everything that goes along with that. Okay, so thank you so much. If you made it to the end, please give a thumbs up so I know that you survived the whole video. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it was a nice break and escape from everything else going on right now. Thank you so much for watching.
Remember to like, subscribe, and share.
Yes. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Let me know in the comments below if you read any of these books or if you plan on reading any of them. And read Wonder.
Yes.
I'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.